I think it's really telling how little Congress cares about the well-being, the quality of life, the financial security of their constituents, that the proposed bill by Ed Markey to halt the TikTok ban for 270 days was immediately squashed, like F you, Tom Cotton. I mean, obviously, of course, they don't care about us. The more depleted we are, the more we are struggling just to make ends meet, the easier we are to control, right? It's hard to care about just causes when you are doing everything you can, working yourself to the bone to keep a roof over your head and keep your children fed. Like, I don't know if the rest of you have noticed how much pro-social justice cause content has gone way down, how much people have reduced capacity to care for things outside of keeping their families safe and fed and housed. That is strategic. That is on purpose. That is the balance of authoritarianism. How can we squeeze them just enough to keep them controlled, keep them tired, but not so much so that they can't work for the machine and earn money for us and do our bidding? Keep them poor, but give them just enough hope that maybe they could become as rich as us. Keep them exhausted, grind them down, but not so much so that they rise up. It's that balancing act of like, how much can they exploit us for our labor, for our life hours? How much profit can they extract from us? While being careful not to squeeze us so hard that they squeeze the life out of us, or squeeze us hard enough that we are prompted to defend ourselves and no longer submit to our own oppression. I know that the loss of communication, of community organizing, of sharing of information on this app is a huge part of the reason that it is being banned. I know the loss of profit for Congress and American corporations is a huge part of why this app is being banned. That it really has nothing to, we all know by now, it has nothing to do with security of our data. It has nothing to do with protecting our privacy. But I do think the other component of taking away an income stream for millions of Americans is something that was built into the design of this ban. There was a level of prosperity. I know one of my mutuals, Megan, said there was discretionary income. Like, a lot of people on TikTok earn their whole living, but many, many millions more earn discretionary income on TikTok, either through TikTok Shop or from being in the Creator Fund, or by using TikTok to promote their small businesses. And now that discretionary income is going away for all of us. And I want to make it really clear, my family will continue to be comfortably middle class and be able to pay all our bills with the loss of my TikTok income. But as I said in another video, I used TikTok money to help pay my kids' community college and Oregon State tuitions. I used TikTok money to take my kid on a trip. I used TikTok money for my husband and I to have a weekend at the beach. I used TikTok money for takeout food for my kids, for a membership to the Japanese garden here in Portland. I use TikTok to be able to afford all kinds of like little luxuries, discretionary spending that is now going away. And not only that, I will have less of a buffer in my bank account for bigger things like the car breaking down or the big vet bill I'm about to pay today because I'm taking one of my poodles to the vet because she's sick. I will now feel squeezed. I will have less breathing room. I will have less bandwidth on a day when I'm tired and don't want to have to worry quite so much about the budget. No, I'm going to need to now. Right? And how much worse is it for folks who relied on TikTok income to make rent? Oh, you know what? They're going to have to go back to working for a corporation instead of essentially being a self-employed gig worker. What a convenient way to have them be forced back into being a cog in the machine, and also make them less financially secure and more stressed out so that they have less bandwidth to care about anything outside of their immediate needs. I have said it so many times, the fascist playbook is not new. They run the same plays every time. We need to look at what has happened historically and realize the patterns that they are rolling out right now, the plans that they are rolling out right now, these are not new. They have happened over and over again, and we need to learn to anticipate the playbook. We need to read ahead, and we need to cut them off at the pass. Although I do think there is some measure of comfort in knowing that historically, those folks have squeezed everybody so hard that, right, like then folks do rise up and do stand up for themselves and do work to overthrow authoritarian regimes. But do we need to follow every play? Do we need to get squeezed harder and harder and more people suffer for potentially years? Or can we say, no, historically, we've been there. We've done that many times over. We are going to, we're going to turn over a new leaf. We are going to take the playbook and we are going to toss it out the window, and we are going to create a new plan. We're going to disrupt and subvert before they roll out the next play. And I realize in a society where we are all now struggling much more financially, where we are all more burdened, our methods of communication are being limited, our income is being limited, that is going to be harder to do. I don't want to minimize that reality. But it doesn't mean that it's not good work that still has to be done. It has to be done.